Hi everyone, this is Meredith Root, and welcome to the Afternoon Snack Podcast, brought to you by Tactic Nutrition.
Hi, I'm Alex Parker, owner of Tactic Nutrition, former lawyer, CrossFit Games athlete, turned health and fitness geek.
I'm also into health and nutrition, a more recent CrossFit Games athlete, co-owner of Tactic Nutrition, and former engineer. We are here to have fun, engaging conversation about some of our favorite topics, including nutrition, health, coaching, motivation, and of course, CrossFit.
Our goal is to give you something to think and talk about and hopefully make you laugh along the way.
Hey, Alex.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. I think this is a first for me on this podcast.
What is?
I'm wearing a bra. Yeah, I usually am in pajamas or loungewear, and like in 2020 and 2021, like bras definitely became optional. Sometimes I think like, you know, things opening back up, I think about like, oh, it's going to be so nice to go out to eat, and it will be. Sit at a restaurant and like have a glass of wine and a nice dinner that we didn't make ourselves, that Brenda didn't make us. And then I think about like all the logistics that go into that. So it's like, not only do you have to drive to the restaurant and then go through the hassle of like, you know, sitting down and waiting on the wait staff and like waiting on your food and dealing with other people, like you actually have to put real clothes on with like a bra and like a nice shirt, and you have to do your makeup and your hair. I mean, I guess you don't have to, but I will. And it's like, that's going to be a whole thing, I think. It'll be nice. It'll be worth doing.
I think so.
Yeah. You'll actually have to do your hair for like the third time since you've had it.
Yeah,
cut.
but actually,
I remember when you got it, I was like, look, like, you know, short hair it's a lot of work. It's like more work than long hair. You're going to have to do it. You're like, yeah. I can do it. It's going to be great. It's easy. And then like, obviously you came home from the salon with it styled. And then I think I saw you blow dry it and style it once, which by the way, it looks great when you do that. You have a really nice face and you have nice hair. And yeah, I think that was maybe like a year ago.
it was.
And yeah, it'll be nice to see it all done up again. I'm sorry that I wasn't willing to cut your hair
Yeah.
last week.
It's okay. I'll just let it grow and then get it super short.
No, you won't.
Okay.
Um,
my hair is getting long and I need it cut right now. And the salons are closed. I think they just announced that they're going to be opening in June again, which is nice.
which is why I wanted to wait.
Yeah, but in the meantime, I got all excited about Meredith cutting my hair and like bought a full set of hair cutting scissors.
Well, hang on a second. I bought the hair cutting scissors. You asked me to buy.
Okay.
Because I get everything that's on Amazon.
Yeah.
So I was like, fine. Because you were like, we don't need that stuff. You can just use whatever scissors. I'm like, you want me to use like kitchen scissors on your hair? Absolutely not. So I bought the actual like hair cutting set on Amazon. Go on.
And then you refused to cut my hair. / you didn't refuse. You made such a big deal about not wanting to do it.
Yeah.
That I no longer wanted you to do it.
I did watch YouTube videos and was prepared to do it. I just was not excited to do it. Mm-hmm. There's never going to be a time where I'm like excited to cut your hair because I feel an immense amount of pressure to do a good job. And like, I'm good at a lot of things, but hair cutting is not one of those things.
Have you ever done it?
No.
Well, then you don't know.
My
hairdresser said it's actually pretty easy.
But you also have a client who's a hairdresser who was like, absolutely not. Do not let Meredith cut your hair. So
no, she said don't cut your own hair.
That's not how I interpreted that conversation. Ivy's trying to burrow in this blanket cover up. We're at this awkward time of year. It's a miserable time of year. It's good and bad. So it's becoming springtime, kind of like getting towards summer, which like Calgary has a pretty nice summer. Like it gets warm, doesn't get super hot. As long as it's not windy, it's pretty enjoyable. But the downside of that is we're so far north that I feel like it's really around now until like mid to late July. It's like daylight all the time.
Okay, that is that is an exaggeration.
I know, but
It's not like we live in like Nunavut or Alaska where it's actually sunny.
no, but it's like, I mean,
okay, the sun is gone. Like it's no longer light out after 10 p.m.
yeah.
And then it's up at 5. I mean, we could probably just look this up. But sunrise is probably 5 something.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you.
So it makes getting to bed and then sleeping in difficult.
Yes, we have sunrise at 5:22, sunset at 9:36, but that's just the time that the sun is like behind the horizon. It actually is like it's light out.
Yeah.
After 10, and it begins getting light before 5.
Yeah.
So that's not that many dark hours for someone who's like, I mean, I really love sleeping and I really like kind of try to prioritize it. But it's hard because like we have to like obviously our door to the bathroom stays open so that we can navigate.
Well, and we have like this big like barn door for our bathroom door, and as you open and close it, it's got these like big rollers.
It's so loud. So you can't really like.
So like you go to close, it's like.
It's like, and everybody's awake. So you have to leave it cracked so you can shimmy through the crack to get to the toilet room, which is in the bathroom. But then also in the bathroom, there's a big ass window. And then we have to leave our bedroom door cracked so Ivy can come and go. And then like in the loft, there's a big window. And like we have shades, but they're not like blackout. And I don't even think it would matter because there's so much light coming from other like elsewhere in the house. Which is like, I love it, but also it's presenting some obvious problems. So it's like last night, for example, I was so excited to sleep in because Thursday is kind of like a sleep in day. It's like the one that we get. And so it's like 10 p.m. and I'm wide awake because it's still like it's daylight. So my brain's like my body's tired because like from working out, just having kind of a long day. But my brain was like, yep, we're not going to sleep yet. So I think it was like 10:30, 11 before really sleep is happening. And then up at, before 5, you kind of start waking up. It's brutal.
Ivy likes it.
Well, Ivy likes it because Ivy sleeps during the daytime. So she's like...
She's up early waiting for us.
She's funny. Like, all three of us, we go to bed together. And so Ivy, we're getting ready, brushing teeth or whatever, and Ivy's just kind of poking around. That's kind of her witching hour. She likes to get her toys going and really like zoom around for a few minutes. And then we get into bed and we're talking or whatever. And if it gets past a certain time,
it's like 10 p.m. It's almost 10 p.m. every night if we're still like lights on.
Yeah, she'll jump up in the bed and basically be like, "Lights out, ladies. At least time for bed." So she'll kind of wander around and just kind of like plop down in the middle and like she's encouraging us to go to sleep. It's really funny. And then we do that, and then she gets up and she leaves and she goes and does whatever she does for like an hour or so. Probably eat, go to the bathroom. I would actually love to put a camera up to see what exactly she does.
I think she normally eats because sometimes I go down to check on her and she's near her bowl.
Yeah, she doesn't like to eat when we're busy.
No.
So anyways, then she'll come back and to the bedroom around 11 and settle down in her little bed, which is in the corner. And then, it's right after it starts getting light. So right around or just before 5, she'll wake up and then she'll jump in the bed and then she'll crawl up towards your head and be like, the covers. So then you lift the covers and she goes under the blanket for like an hour until it's 6 a.m. And that's when she's like, all right, it's time. So that's how we wake up most mornings.
And then she like wanders around the bed in the room and she's like, and then we're like, Ivy, and she's like, oh, sorry, did I wake you?
But then when she really wants you to get up, she she's smart. She knows what she's not supposed to do, and she knows that one of those things, like, she loves to chew on cables, and so you'll just hear, like, she will legitimately pull your phone charger out of the wall. Mm-hmm. And that's what I wake up to sometimes. Because that's like, I think she knows that sound, like that specific sound will get both of us kind of moving and out of bed.
She keeps a tight leash on us.
She does. She's she rules the house for sure. But, She loves the new couch. That's like the big update from last week was we finally got our new furniture in.
Okay, this couch is amazing. It's got to be 3 times the size of the one that you bought. The other couch that I hate.
Yeah.
It's basically 2 twin beds pushed together.
Except one, it's like a twin bed because it's like the right length, and that's the short side. And then there's the long side, which is even longer than that. And it's super wide, so like you can easily like spoon somebody.
You could have 4 people lying down on their backs, like 2 and 2.
Yeah.
No problem.
Oh, none at all.
Like Meredith and I had a nap the other day, and I was fully stretched out on one side, like in a bed, and she was fully stretched out on the other portion of it.
We weren't touching.
Not even close.
And Ivy was somewhere in the middle. Ivy's funny because she loves the crack. She'll just get in the crack, and like she's not one to like she never used to do this on the old couch. And if we're like up and around, usually she's following, but like you'll be in the kitchen or whatever and realize that you haven't seen her in a little while, and you look over and she's just like passed out on the couch.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Loves it. Last night we were both kind of huddled together on the short side, and she was laying like right in the middle of the big portion of the couch. So I think she thinks that's hers. Yeah, and we've been using the fireplace, which she recently discovered that she likes. So it's been good. What are you staring at?
I feel like we made a really good decision on that couch compared to the couch that you purchased. When like the difference between the two, when Meredith purchased this tiny couch and I tried to sell it, no one was buying it, like at a discounted rate. And you tried to sell it, no one was buying it. I put this new one up on Instagram, the big one, and I probably got 5 or 6 DMs being like, where did you get that couch? I want to buy that exact one.
Like, it's custom, bitches. But actually, like, the crazy thing about it is, to be it's a fully custom couch. It wasn't even that expensive. It was, but when you look at what you actually,
but it was worth it.
Yeah, when you look at what you actually got, though, you're like, wow, this is an incredible.
There are certain things in life that are worth spending money on, and for me, a couch is one of those things. Like couches, mattresses, stuff that like lasts a long time and then you use a lot, and like you get your money's worth from it. Like you pay for what you get.
Here's the crazy thing. I agree on both of those, and especially the mattress, because the mattress that we have, I bought, and it was a massive expense for me at the time, and it's like, what, 5 or 6 years old now, and I've moved it. Obviously, it came with me when I came here. But I want to say, like, it's a Beauty Rest black. It's extra firm with a plush top. And I tried out a bunch of mattresses, and that's the one that I landed on. And I want to say that it was like a $4,000 mattress. Like, it was significant. And I bought that, like, back in, 2015? And it was a big deal. But I love it. And it's so, like, whenever we travel, and you know this now, you sleep on beds that aren't that, and even like a relatively comfortable bed, like at a hotel, you're like, I can't wait to get back in that bed. And then you do, and you're like, you realize how much nicer it is, and how much nicer it is to sleep in that particular bed. And what's crazy is there's this movement in mattresses now, and everybody's into like, Casper and Performa Sleep and all these ones. They come rolled up in a like box. Like, why do you want to buy a mattress that comes in a box? You have to undo it, and then you have to let it fill up with air because it's memory foam. And I'm like, no, y'all are missing the boat. And it's like, those things are cheap. They're like $800, $1,000. I mean, that's not like cheap, but
I have one, the one that I used to have that's now in my parents' place. I think it was like $1,000. It's a double, so it's still a decent mattress, and it's nice. Like we were sleeping, I think, at memory foam at your sister's house, and I'm not used to that. And as a stomach sleeper, like I need a pretty firm mattress because otherwise my stomach will just sink in, and then my back is curved like in the wrong direction. Yeah, and I did not enjoy that at all.
I just find I get really hot on memory foam mattresses, and some of them are like, they advertise and they're like, cool memory foam, and they advertise that because they know that like memory foam mattresses are just like hot. Like you're going to get in that bed and you're going to sweat if you're a hot sleeper. But even the cool ones, because Casper, they make those claims. They're not like, they're super not breathable. When you think about the way that they're constructed, it makes sense, right? Like it's just foam all the way throughout versus ours that's like got a little bit of like, I don't even think it's foam. I don't know what the plush top is. It's not foam, but then it's a coil spring mattress. You get lots of airflow through the mattress, which makes sense. Yeah, that's one of those things that I think I'll always be willing to spend money on.
I think we're pretty particular with sleeping though.
Yeah, probably I
think it's one of those things where when you have something really nice sleeping, you become very particular about it.
Yeah.
Like you get used to like the best, and then when you go down a notch, you're like, okay, this isn't working for me. But it's crazy. I mean, I've never really had like a long-term relationship where I've shared a bed with someone like every night. But when you moved in with me, I had a queen mattress and you were like, what is this? We can't both sleep on this tiny bed. And then we would sleep a couple times, like when we would travel to friends' house, we'd stay in guest rooms and we'd sleep on like a double bed. And we would both wake up in the morning and look at each other like so mad.
Yeah.
Like what, both thinking that we were
either of us in the middle of the bed, and you realize like no,
you were in the middle of the bed.
The bed is just tiny.
Like when we were in Toronto for Pride and we stayed at Prevost's place.
Oh yeah.
We both woke up so angry at the other person.
Yeah. And I don't know how you wouldn't do that on a daily basis if you're in like a double bed.
Yeah. And then you hear like, I have clients and I'm like, I'm sure this is why they don't sleep well, but they either have a queen or a double and they have their dogs on the bed.
Oh,
I'm like, I don't know how you do that. Like we sleep at opposite ends of the king mattress.
Yeah, and it's great. And the feedback from people is like, oh, well, it's not good for cuddling. I'm like, no, it's actually perfect for cuddling because like
you can decide when you want to cuddle and when you don't want to cuddle.
You're not forced into cuddling as a byproduct of being in a bed that's not appropriately sized for two people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk about that a lot.
Yeah, no. Because
and one of them is a man.
Yeah, that's
a big person.
Well, like my sister and Josh, like her husband, they share a queen mattress. And here's what I don't get about that sleeping situation. And granted, like their house is it's an old house. It was built in like the 1930s. It's been renovated. So like the rooms are a little bit small. And so they have a queen mattress and it's pushed all the way up against, like it's in the corner. So one side is against the wall. Which means like, now I'm thinking like, I have to get up and go pee once or twice a night. Like, do you crawl over the person who's on the open side? Do you or do you shimmy?
Well, wait. Remember when we used to have that giant king bed in my old apartment and it was way too big for the room? So it left like this tiny area between the wall and the bed and even more tiny on your side. And so you would have to get up and turn sideways and like actually shimmy.
Yeah. Like you've always
your body had to be like sideways, but your feet also had to be like couldn't be sideways.
Basically do a plie or whatever that like ballerina foot position is, and then like crab walk shimmy in front of the dresser.
And there were no windows in that room either.
So it was like pitch black dark. Yeah, I remember that. That kind of set a precedent. Like, and every time we share a bedroom now, if we're at someone's house or we're in a hotel room or something, you always get the side that's closest to the bathroom. Like that's just like it doesn't matter like if it's a reverse side of the bed, like if the bathroom is on one side of the room.
Sometimes you like put your pillow or like get set up on like what would be my side of the bed in a hotel, and I'm just like, I just move it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I'm a little more proactive about that now, but because sometimes I like to sleep so that my left shoulder is down if we're spooning. Mm-hmm. So like that's I guess facing the right side of the room if you're facing the bed. But
and this is why listeners tune in.
I know
information like this.
But it
doesn't get any more entertaining than this.
But like the past few times, like the way that we're set up now, I have to lay on my right.
Yeah.
It's like a whole thing. It's fine. I guess like the person who's likely to do the most complaining should get their preference always.
So back to Josh and Megan and their small bed.
Oh yeah. Well, I just wonder, and I really should just ask her this because I'm sure there's a perfectly reasonable explanation. But like, do you shimmy down this like the bottom? And again, like they have a dog in their bed, so like.
Oh, he for sure shimmies out.
Well, but
there's no way he's climbing over top.
I think Megan's on the inside.
Oh, well, then she's shimmying out.
Like down towards the bottom, or is she crawling over Josh?
She wouldn't be crawling over somebody.
Yeah. So I guess probably you uncover yourself and then you kind of tuck the covers up under your leg and then you just like butt shimmy to the foot of the bed.
Yeah. And then scooch off.
Up. Yeah. And then to get back in would be easier because you just crawl up.
Yeah.
And that's probably why Josh doesn't sleep very much.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. So to our like topic of the day, which is, and this is one that's kind of, I've wanted to do for a while. And we've touched, of course, on what nutrition coaching is, but it's going to be more focused on like what nutrition coaching is and what nutrition coaching isn't. And I think what nutrition coaching isn't is going to be a much easier question to answer.
So what do you think, like, what is nutrition coaching not? We'll just start with the easy one.
And we're speaking from like what we do at Tactic.
Yes.
You can get different variations of nutrition coaching. This is like what we do and what we believe works best.
Well, I think there's a lack of definition of terms in the space. So nutrition coaching can mean a lot of things. It can mean like meal plans from your personal trainer. It can mean like template programs from other companies. And then it can mean like consulting, which is more what we do. So when we talk about nutrition coaching, we're talking about like one-on-one semi-frequent communication with clients regarding their nutrition, health, and performance goals.
Yeah. So my definition, or what I don't think the nutrition coaching is, what nutrition coaching isn't, is a one-size-fits-all approach. Like you can have personalized macros and it still be a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah, like the approach itself, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what our one-time plan is.
Yeah.
People can take it for what it is and apply it the way they want to, but we explain how to implement the plan in one way. And it's like, okay, this is how you plan ahead, track your meals, meal prep, enter your macros, hit these macros. You should see the results that you want to see in a certain period of time.
Bippity boppity boop.
And those are for people who they come to us and they're like, I want to macro track. Mm-hmm. These are my goals. I've done macro tracking. I know it works for me. I'm comfortable with it. I don't have any like major issues with my relationship with food. I don't need help implementing the plan, that sort of thing. So like that is a kind of a one-size-fits-all approach. And I think that is more similar to nutrition coaching from certain other companies that, force macros on people, force cuts on people, more restriction on people. I don't think that is nutrition coaching.
No.
That is not coaching.
That's what I would call a program.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very cut and dry. This is how you do it. This is how you apply it. Like it doesn't leave a lot of room for flexibility. And you see that like with any template based online one-time fee nutrition, whatever, that's probably what it's going to be. Mm-hmm. Some are better than others. I think ours is still pretty good. It's one of the better ones that's out there.
If I do say so myself.
Yeah. I mean, but
it works great for some people.
Oh, we've had people check back in after like 4 or 6 weeks just with incredible results, but it works for a very small subset of the population. And we get probably more often than not people who reach out for that particular plan and service, and you're reading through the intake and you're just like, man, like this person needs coaching because they don't know enough about themselves to be able to do this properly. Mm-hmm. Like they haven't tracked macros. They haven't followed a nutrition program. They don't seem to have a good grasp on biomarkers. Like, their training is up in the air. They're extremely stressed out. Like, I don't know if what I'm about to give this person is appropriate for their lifestyle, but I guess I'll give it a best guess.
I think some people want somewhere to start with and they look for a lower price point. They want to see how they do.
Yeah.
And then some people start coaching within the month and they're just like, you know what, you're right. Like we don't tend to upsell our coaching, but people obviously know it's an option, so they'll switch to coaching after.
Yeah.
Interestingly, with our one-time plans, we always ask people to check in after 30 days. Like it's basically like we're offering a free
check-in,
like a free top-up kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like check in with us in 30 days to make sure that you're getting where you want to go with this plan, so that if we need to adjust, we can do that. Like, are you experiencing the weight loss that we would expect? Are you feeling good and trained? That sort of thing. And if not, then we'll give you new macros. I would say out of the one-time plans that we send out, maybe 1 in 10 checks in within 30 days.
Yep.
1 in 10. And all those people usually have pretty good results. They've stuck to the plan pretty well, and like we might tinker with their macros or something like that, but they're usually pretty adherent.
Yeah, I think it like that.
I do wonder, like, do those people just not check in? Do they give up? Like, what I always wonder what happens. I mean,
I think
guess
what happens is like, and you can just look at the cost of that versus the cost of ongoing coaching, right? So when you've got someone who's seeking out a lower price point option because they think like, oh, I'm gonna, get the results I want for as little money as possible. They like that probably tends to be the person that's just like sort of instant gratification. Like, I'm going to spend money on this. It's going to work immediately. It's going to be great. But like in reality, the information is very good. Usually the prescription is very good, but it still requires like the bulk of the work. 95% of what is going to determine the success of a program like that falls in the responsibility of the client and the person who's spending the money. And I think it's difficult for some people to grasp that or to put it into action. Or they buy something and they're like, oh, well, this is still really hard. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, anytime someone buys something online, they're not buying like the thing. They're buying what they think, like they're buying the way that they think it's going to make them feel.
Yeah.
So like, all right, I want to achieve this goal. I'm going to buy this plan and it's going to solve all my problems. And it's like, no, like you still have to be the one to solve your problems. But here's a roadmap on how to do that. Mm-hmm. But I think that's kind of where, like, that's sort of where the beauty of coaching comes in.
Yeah. The coaching, for those of you guys that don't know, our coaching starts out with the exact same plan as our one-time plan. But we kind of joke about this and we're like, I don't think that many of our clients read the plan that closely, or they quickly forget what's in the plan. But that's fine with me because the plan is a starting point for coaching, and you can go so many different directions. The plan, it's like, when you look at a map, like just a real map, and you're like, hey, let's pick a city, Calgary. And you look at the map and you just see like roads and just like streams and rivers just like exploding off of that city, going in every which direction. And there's forks in each and every one of those roads, and there's forks in each and every one of those roads. That's nutrition coaching. You have a starting point, and you can go down and you can start going down any different road based on what the person wants. Once you get talking to the person, once you realize what the person has going on in their life, if the person's, tracked before, if they've tracked before and don't want to track, if they, it can go in any which direction. And that is very determinant on what kind of communication that you have with that client, which you don't get with programs, templates, plans. And what I see, and this is kind of what spurred our idea to do a podcast on this, is we get clients who after a couple months have tried over and over to get the hang of macros, or to, hit their macros perfectly. They have the all or nothing approach. And instead of saying to me like, hey, Alex, like I'm really struggling with hitting my macros, I think we need to like approach this differently. Or I'll say, hey, like, what's the struggle? And instead of saying, my struggle is like, I'm not on my phone every day. Like I find it really hard to enter in my food all the time. Or, I eat with my kids and sometimes it's hard to track, whatever. But instead I get, no, I'm back on it tomorrow. Don't worry, I'll hit my macros this week.
And how many times does someone do that before?
But some people, it's like, okay, they do hit their macros that weekend. It's just like a one-off weekend.
Okay.
But there are times where it's like every single like few days, that's what I get.
It's like, no, I'm going to get back on it. And it's like, why don't we stop? Like, why don't we stop trying to get back on it and like, and figure out what the root cause here is and find another approach that's going to be a little bit easier versus like, you know, you just feel like you're failing over and over and over again, but you're only failing because we're not playing the right game for you.
Yeah.
We just need to change the rules
and just
a little
like
bit.
there's no openness to try a different approach. They have this, and I mean, I've learned over the last couple of years, like there are so many different approaches, and I try to make that clear to my clients. Like, do you want to try something different? And it's like, it seems as though in their head, there's only one way to do this.
Yeah.
And it's, you have to hit your macros every day. And for some people who are, you know, trying to lose their last few pounds or really dial in their body comp or performance, like they do have to get down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
If you're 135 and you want to be 132 or 130 or lean out and you're training like 9 times a week, like, yeah, hitting your macros is going to be kind of important.
Yeah.
Because it does get down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
But for the majority of people, it's just not like that. And it just kills me every time a person's with me for like a month or 2 months and they're just like, this isn't working, I'm canceling. And then and I'm like, all right. I mean, like or they just start ghosting you.
Yeah.
And it's like, is everything okay? Like, do you want to try a different approach? Like, this seems like a lot for you. Is there something, can we have a discussion? And it's like, nope, not even like, and I'm sure there's a lot of psychological.
I think there's shame. There's like a feeling of failure. But again,
Absolutely.
like that's sort of a self inflicted feeling because when there's not a strong base of communication and you don't understand what's going on with the client because they're not sharing, then they probably think that you think they're failing when really like the only failure in this is lack of communication.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to actually disappoint me with behaviors. Like if you're trying and you're being open and honest and telling me what you feel good about, what you feel bad about, like I'm never going to be disappointed with a high level of communication, even if like actual adherence to like the program, quote unquote, is not spectacular.
Yep.
That's
100%.
okay with me. Like I would rather know what's up with someone, and I would rather have them be like, look, like I had pizza for lunch. It was unplanned. I like, you know, some friends brought it in or whatever. I really wanted it. I had it, but I also like, you know, I have this dinner plan and like I can't do anything about it. Like, you know, what should I do? I'm like, well, just like do what you want to do today. Don't stress about it, and like we can talk again tomorrow. Like there's no failure there. The only failure is if that happens and like you don't tell me, or you think that I think that you're a failure, and so now you're like, you know, you're projecting that onto me.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I don't, it's very hard to actually fail, in my opinion.
I've had newer clients who they're just like shit shows, for lack of a better term. Like they're just kind of like, they've got a lot on their plate, but they're interested in working on their nutrition. You know, maybe there's somebody who just never had like a breakfast, lunch, dinner. Like they just don't eat real meals, like because they're not in the habit of it.
Yeah.
And so they just kind of grab and go. And obviously that's not great for overall health and nutrition.
Yeah.
So we're working on that, and it's been a month or so. And the other day she goes, you know, I really hope, and she's doing well. Like she's making some progress, and you know, she doesn't hit her macros every day. Sometimes she doesn't log, but you know, she's eating a well-rounded breakfast. She packs her lunch now. Like that's huge. And the other day she said, I hope I'm not letting you down.
Yeah.
I'm like, absolutely not. You're not letting me down.
Yeah.
You know, like you've been, we've made a ton of progress here. Like this is the kind of stuff that actually matters. Like It's not hitting your macros every day. Like anybody can hit their macros for a couple days, but you know, are they learning about themselves? Are they, you know, getting feedback from how they feel?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so personal. And
yeah, I think like when you think about that approach and the way that people are sometimes with nutrition, like if you just think about the way that might show up in like other areas of life. Like a lot of people are, they're into CrossFit or they're into working out. And you can like you can probably remember when you started doing CrossFit way back, or exercising. So imagine someone walks into a gym and like, it's their first day or their first week, and they say to their coach or their trainer or the owner of the gym, like, there was deadlifting today, and I was kind of like, I didn't feel great. I was kind of shaky and wobbly, and I, my form didn't feel good. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm just gonna quit.
That is sometimes what we get.
Yeah, and the coach is like,
I'm laughing, but it's not really funny.
That's a good idea. Like, you're clearly not cut out to be a weightlifter. You should just quit while you're at the beginning of this. Like, that's insane.
Like,
or the same person walks in and they're like, there was deadlifting today and there was a bar loaded with 300 pounds and I couldn't pick it up. So I guess I should just quit. And it's wild when you think about the way that, that you can use that analogy in so many areas of your life. Like literally,
that is an amazing analogy.
Thank you. Think of any failure, any mistake. Like, you drop your phone on the ground and the screen cracks. Like, do you just carry on with using your phone, which still works perfectly well, or do you smash it into the ground until it's completely broken and not usable?
Yeah,
it's just such a it's such a screwed up way to think about things, and it's just the opposite of being in like a growth and development mindset, where you're going into, even when like going into what you think are failures, like going into scenarios that are totally new with like some amount of curiosity and no expectation. Like, that's where growth happens, whereas the opposite is where failure happens, but only because like you're not allowing yourself to experience any of the potential that exists in like a growth mindset sort of state of being.
Yeah, totally. I think a lot of people think nutrition coaching involves a lot of tough love, which it actually doesn't.
No, but
I can dish out a fair share of tough love. And when I think back to even my most recent check-ins, like hardly any of it is tough love. It's really just conversation. It's asking a lot of questions. It's trying to get information out of people. It's making sure that I'm offering what they need.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's like, how can I support you in this? Because like, you don't know what one person wants in the like compared to another person.
Yeah.
For some people, like if it's a holiday weekend, like some people will be like, can I text you on Sunday?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but like some people don't want to text me on Sunday. So I'm not going to be like, you know what would work best if you texted me on Sunday? They're going to be like, no. So instead I'm like, what do you need from me?
Yeah. How can I support what you're trying to do right now?
Yeah. And like, sometimes we've had people who are like, I just need somebody to keep me in line.
Yeah. Do you get like, that? I get that sometimes.
For some people I can do that, but it's like, it's kind of like, subtle. Like Sunday, I'll be like, looking forward to seeing perfect macros on Wednesday. But like, I'm not sitting there slapping your hand away from the food.
But do you ever get that request? Like, oh, I need someone to give me some tough love. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really do that. Like, I'm going to ask you questions and you're going to do what you want to do. You're not going to do what I want you to do.
Yeah.
And that's never like, that's just, I don't deliver
not that many of my clients. I think more so my clients will be like, I just need you to ask me about it.
Yeah.
And that alone is enough. But we've had people reach out who are like, and I'm sorry, but sometimes it tends to be like men. And it's like, I just need someone to like keep me in line. And
I think they want someone, like they've seen Biggest Loser or some shit with Jillian Michaels, and like they want Jillian Michaels in their life to like get in their face and yell at them when they're like, eating French fries, and just say mean things about them and make them feel bad about themselves. Yeah. Like, it makes me wonder if like, do you think these guys like to be like tied up and whipped? Like, is there some sort of a correlation between I need a personal trainer or like a coach to get in my face and tell me I'm a piece of shit, and also like, you know, I like to be flogged in the bedroom. I bet you that's a thing. But I think, and we've talked about, I'm sorry.
You know what's funny is like, okay, back to like the whole fitness thing. I think about the way am as an athlete, and even some other people who do CrossFit or who do personal training or whatever. And like a lot of them don't flourish when the coach is like, you sucked on this workout. This was your time.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see any good coach talking to their athlete like that at any level. Even like maybe in like, you see like basketball coaches saying like, what are you doing? But
I think that's more of like a team thing. That's like a team dynamic.
But like in CrossFit or in fitness, and especially with the clients we work with who aren't elite athletes, like we're working with like, one example is like a 35-year-old female who just wants to get fit.
Yeah.
Or like run a half marathon, and they're not going to be motivated by their coach emailing back and being like, what are you doing, you slowpoke? Yeah. Like they're motivated, and I'm motivated by messages like this from my coach saying like, great work.
Yeah.
Like, awesome job hitting those paces. That I knew that was going to be a tough, and good job.
Yeah.
Like the next time I go out there, I'm going to be like, I'm going to fucking hit these paces and make my coach proud.
Yeah. Except sometimes when you run too fast, and then you get the message from Mike, and he's like, yeah, that was too fast. I'm like, oh,
we're going to need to learn how to pace better.
Yeah.
But I try to be that kind of coach. I'm like, you're not hitting your macros, and they know that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help me to say like, hey, like you suck this week. It helps to say like, what's going on?
I remember like, early on when I started doing CrossFit, I was not like, I wasn't particularly good. I was not a remarkable CrossFit athlete or athlete in general when
Still
I walked
are.
into when I walked into a CrossFit gym, and but what I was good at was working hard. And it wasn't even that I was working hard towards a particular goal. I just really liked working hard. And I had the owner of the gym that I started at, and that I still really admire in Raleigh, which is CrossFit RDU. His name's Steve Johnson. He has this way with people, and like you've met him, so but he has this way of really inspiring like hard effort and grit and determination. And he would just get these normal people, they're accountants, engineers, computer scientists, like just people with normal 9-to-5 desk jobs, like never been particularly good at athletics, and they show up, and like they wanted to work, and they wanted to prove it to themselves. And it's because basically he would walk in and he would say to you like, you have no idea what you're capable of. You have no idea. He's like, you're going to learn what you're capable of here. He's like, but you have to stick around and you have to work hard for it. And people just did that. And I remember we would do these crazy hard workouts. Like the programming at that gym was just like, it was insane compared to what you were doing at other CrossFit gyms. And it's kind of what they became known for. And so you just do these super gritty workouts a couple times a week. And I remember, I was kind of starting to get a little bit better at CrossFit, and my fitness was coming up, and there was a handful of pretty fit people at that gym. And it would get into the part of the workout where you saw people's lights kind of fading. Like, you and these workouts, you get to a point where you have to make a decision. Like it's getting really hard, and you're either going to decide to like get into the shit, or you're going to decide to pull your hand out of the fire. And he had this way of just like, of seeing that moment with people, because it comes up at different times. And he would come behind you or wherever, if you're on a row or a bike, or if you're, doing burpees or whatever, it's like he could smell it. He could see it. And he wouldn't get in your face and be like, you gotta fucking go. Like, you gotta go. Like you see in other CrossFit gyms. He would just get in your ear and he'd be like, it's supposed to be hard. He's like, it's supposed to be hard. He's like, when you feel it get hard, he's like, smile at it, lean into it. He's like, this is what you want. This is what you want it to feel like. And I'm gonna like goosebumpy even thinking about that. And that's like, it makes you kind of like seek out that kind of effort. And it made me seek out that kind of effort. It's like everything I did, I could just like hear this voice in the back of my head, like, smile at it, lean into it. Like, you don't accomplish anything if you're comfortable, and you don't. Like that's like growth in life. doesn't tend to happen like inside of your comfort zone. And the incredible thing was, and this is not to like to toot my own horn, like I think that to achieve at a high level in this sport does require some amount of genetic potential, which I have. I'm not going to pretend that I don't. The most kind of inspiring part of that was watching the effect that attitude has on just normal everyday people. Because really, like, people would show up at that gym and they would literally just be coming because they saw like CrossFit on TV or they Googled it, and he's like, no, I'm going to change your life. He's like, you have no idea what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and as soon as like, if you just stick around for a year, 2 years at that place, like you're now on a totally different trajectory in life. I mean, I experienced it, and I know so many people who are still at that gym after 10 years, and guaranteed if you talk to any one of them, they'd be like, yes, my life has completely changed because of this place, and because of the effort that I decided to put in and the amount of time that I gave myself to make positive changes in my life. And I've always seen a lot of parallels between CrossFit, that mentality and success in nutrition and in health. And I think part of the reason is because it takes so long. And and I don't mean like it's going to take you 5 or 10 years. I mean, like, we're conditioned, especially with nutrition. Like, I don't think anyone walks into a gym and expects to, like, we've talked about this, you know, be back squatting 300 pounds or like crushing workouts. But for some reason, people expect to start a nutrition program and see massive amounts of change in 1 month or 2 months. And it doesn't tend to happen that way. You can lay a really solid foundation in that amount of time. But the real progress is like, are you willing to commit, you know, a high amount of effort? And effort is relative to the person. Effort might be nailing macros. Effort might be drinking 2 bottles of water and going on 2 runs a week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it depends. But are you willing to put in like more effort than you've been putting in for an extended period of time? Can you prove it to yourself? Like, you can. I think a lot of people are way more capable of making progress in health and nutrition than they think. But it's like, we're not there to provide the roadmap and to have all the answers. We're there to ask questions so that you can figure out what you want to do for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That whole CrossFit thing made me think back. You know, when you look at a workout, this was more like early on, like especially when I was working out with a class, and I would look at a workout and be like, I can't do that.
Huh.
Or like, even when certain events would get released at like local competitions, and I knew who my competition was, and I'd be like, there's no way I can do well in this competition.
Yeah.
Or like, what if I can't do that unbroken? Or, you know, other girls are going to be doing it unbroken. And
yeah.
And like, I don't even think anybody ever told me this, but it was like, and this transfers into so many other areas of life. It really transferred into my academics. But what I learned in CrossFit is like, even though you can have 10 out of 10 self-doubt, all you need to do is just like start the clock and just do your best. Yeah. And like 9 times out of 10, usually, at least 9 times out of 10, you surprise the shit out of yourself.
Yeah.
And you complete the workout and you do better than you thought, or you lift more weight than you thought. And like, in the right environment, you're going to just really like
thrive.
Yeah. And it's the same thing in my academics. Like, I would be shitting myself over, you know, having to write a paper on something I had never even I remember this Aboriginal law paper I had to write, and I was so over my head, and I freaked out, and I called my mom, and I was like, I'm going to fail this class. And she basically was like, you know what, just go get some books, do the reads, like, start the project, write notes, just start the paper. And like, I ended up doing just fine. Yeah. But you have to start, and you have to try. Yeah. If you fail, then you fail. If you don't lift the way, you move on. But like, if you never try, or if you look at somebody and say, I can't do that nutrition, I can't plan my meal for the weekend. And it's like, hey, why don't we just try to plan one meal? Like, let's just get started with something. Yeah. And you have somebody there and somebody that you can turn to and say like, this is really hard. And you're like, it's okay, but you can do it.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference. And in that whole CrossFit scenario, you have tons of other people around you who are probably looking at the board thinking exactly the same thing. Like, are you kidding me? Like 150 cleans?
Yeah.
I can't do that. And it's like, guys, like,
let's go.
The class before you did it.
Yeah. People have been doing it all day.
Yeah.
Do you remember that feeling though? Like when you would look at a workout that either the night before or the morning of.
I would actually wake up in the middle of the night and look to see if the WOD had been posted.
And then you're like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God.
Well, like early on, I would be like, wait.
Okay, I have to Google that.
Yeah.
What is a CTB pull-up?
God. Yeah. That's like, it feels like yesterday, but it was so long ago. It was like 9 years ago for me.
I love that. Yeah, it's about the same for me.
Yeah.
There's this week at RDU, and it's actually this week. It's so Memorial Day in the US is this coming Monday. Most people do Murph on Memorial Day, which Murph, if you don't know, is 1 mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, 1 mile run, and you can partition the middle however you want. So they do this week at RDU, and it's just the way that this gym is. And they call it Hero Week, and it actually starts the week before Memorial Day. So it starts on, I guess it goes Sunday through the following Monday. And they start with Murph. So Murph is done on Sunday. Or maybe it's done on Monday. I don't know. But every day of the week for 7 days in a row, there's a different hero workout. And so I know like Murph is done first, and then there's like they do I know DT is usually one of them, bowl, which is another super hard workout, maybe white cervase, and then they end on Spahar. Do you know what Spahar is?
No.
This is the final. This is day number 7.
Before Murph?
No, Murph is done first.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, so this is Memorial Day. This is the one it ends on. And it's always done on Memorial Day because most people have that day off, and you need more than the allotted hour of a class to do it. It's 100 thrusters at 135.95, 100 chest to bar pull-ups, 6 mile run.
Ew.
And the way that you can partition it however, I know, you can partition it however you like, but the way that we've always done it is you do 100, 100, 6 miles. You don't partition it. And it takes, it's like understandably a very long workout, like 2 hours for most people, sometimes more. But the crazy thing is it's the same collection of people, like just normal everyday people who show up every day for 7 days in a row, and they do a hero workout per day, and they're not easy hero. Like the easiest day is DT, like that's the rest day, and then everything else is just it's super long, lots of running, and it ends with that workout, Spahar. And it's like I think if you showed like a normal CrossFitter that week of programming, they'd be like, oh, no way. But it's like, yeah, you can do that. You just have to decide to do that. Mm-hmm. It's great.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I remember, I'm just having all these memories of like early CrossFit days and some of the excitement, and now I'm thinking about the outfits. Okay, I want you to tell me what year you started doing CrossFit without telling me what year you started doing CrossFit. Like, what did you wear? Shoes?
Like minimalist shoes.
Were they Reebok or were they something else?
No, they were New Balance.
Yeah.
And I wore them on a rope climb workout, and they just got completely destroyed.
Same.
And I was like, these have to go in the garbage. And then I got my first Reebok Nano 2s.
Yep.
In turquoise green.
Yeah, you had those?
Yeah.
I had a similar experience.
You had gray ones, didn't you?
No, I had those gray ones I bought. Those are actually kind of new.
Okay.
I bought I started in like Nike.
Did you get like yellow and purple ones?
Let me finish my story, please. I had Nike Freeze, and like my initial CrossFit outfit was like Nike Freeze. You remember the Nike like running shorts with like the design on the side, and you get all the colors. I had a lot of those, so I was wearing those shorts, Nike Freeze, and then like a baggy t-shirt. And
did you have compression socks on?
No.
Okay, because those were popular way back too.
I think there was a time where I was wearing socks. But anyways, I did a rope climb in those Nike Freeze, and the same thing happened. They just like shredded.
Yeah.
And then I ordered Nanos, and I did get the lime green and purple Nano 2s.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
And then I bought the matching lifters, but they were the wrong size, so I returned them and got like gray lifters. So
I got the like white and black Reeboks, like the super like
For
the
the lifting
first
shoes?
lifting Reebok
Yeah.
like CrossFit shoe.
That's what I had those also, but mine were the like light gray and white with like
Yeah.
some yellow.
I remember feeling silly walking around in those because I felt like they were it felt like wearing bricks on your shoes.
Yeah, I'd never worn
It felt
anything
like
like
a
it.
mix between high heels and like clogs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were really white. And I remember everyone commenting on them. And I was like super embarrassed because I hate when like attention like that, especially back then when you're
Yeah.
super new to a CrossFit gym.
Yeah.
And
I like how people, and I did this too, whenever a rope climb workout would show up, I'd be like, "Ah, I'm going to wear my soccer socks. Like, you know what doesn't do shit on a rope climb to protect your shins? Socks. Like, I guess they can be there to like absorb the blood after you shred your leg.
Yeah.
But as far as like protecting your leg,
I had a friend once who didn't wear anything, or she was wearing socks into a bunch of rope climbs. I think we were training for team event in 2013, and she actually got an infection from like the rope burn that like it was such a big like wound. I mean, it was probably like the size of a toonie, and it got infected.
Yeah. I've heard a few people have that happen because ropes are kind of gnarly.
Yeah, and you probably get like a lot of like
you get a lot of
rope
dirt
particles that aren't.
Well, yeah, because your feet, so you're bringing in all this like staff and
like like chalk and Anyway,
I love
all
that.
right, so I think the takeaway is, I just really wanted to talk about this because I think nutrition coaching is misunderstood, and it's a new thing.
It's a new field.
It is a new field, and it's up and coming. And I think people are under the impression that every company is the same, and we're not. And we're very personal. We really like to get to know our clients. Now that we have a growing team, we match our clients with the coach that we think will be the best fit. Like, we put a lot of effort into making sure that coaches are selected accordingly and introduced in the proper way. And, we all work together, and it's not a one size fits all approach, and there is no failure, and there is no letting your coach down. It's just, it's a process.
Yeah.
And every path with every single client is going to be different.
Yeah.
Every conversation is different.
That's the real difference between like a program like ours and a program like, I'm just going to say it, RP.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you start making assumptions about people and that they're all the same or similar enough to apply a systematic approach, you are immediately limiting the potential of that program.
Yeah.
So
it can work for some people, but we feel that the majority of people need something more.
Yeah. So
we try to provide that.
Kind of tailor the approach to the person, not the person to the approach. Mm-hmm. We'll never put baby in the corner.
No.
So, yeah, I thought that was good. In other news, we're out of quarantine tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's...
so don't expect any more podcasts for at least another month.
No,
that was like 4 and 3 weeks. 2 weeks. That's like a new record for us. But we'll try to keep them going.
Yeah, I think that's good. We're looking forward to our freedom, and hopefully that means we have more stories to tell. Mm-hmm. And then with things opening up and all of our friends getting vaccinated / recovering from COVID, we can have people on the podcast, and it's going to be great. I'm really excited about it.
Until then.
Any parting words? Ivy? Nothing from her. She's asleep. Thanks for listening as always, and we will talk to you guys soon.